Hello everybody, welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be going over my weekly forecast for the 10th through the 16th of November. So this week we're going to have very bitter cold from a lot of that Arctic air coming down from Canada after we do get this huge snowstorm that is going to be getting pretty south, and the Northeast is going to get pounded by it too. I will show snow totals later on in the video, but we're going to start with our temperature anomalies and precipitation anomalies. I do have a new key at the bottom. I hope everyone does like this a little better. My last one was okay, but I do like this one a little bit better, so I do hope y'all like this. Of course, this is just your map key. You just look up here on the map, and you just look down there and see what the colors mean. So, it's not a new feature, but it's a new map, so I do hope y'all like the new map, and it's a little bit more clearer to read. Alright, let's go ahead and get into today's video. So, we're going to start with these temperature anomalies. We're going to start with the light blue. That's where we have those slightly below average temperatures. So, here, we'll just be a little bit less colder than usual. So, let's say you're in northern Florida. You're usually at a low of 60. You may be at a low of 50-something, or, that's just an example. I know it could get colder than that in some of those regions. But let's just focus on these highs. So this could be maybe 3 to 5 degrees below your high usually. So that's what your light blue is. Your regular blue is below average temperatures. This is going to be very widespread for many people across the United States. This is where it could be getting pretty cold, and it will be very cold. Cold temperatures will be getting very south. We could be getting really cold down even in Louisiana. So definitely do be watching for that. As we go throughout this week, many freeze warnings will have many freeze warnings in effect for many people, even far south. I know many people have already gotten their first freeze this year, but we could even get down to the Gulf states when it does come to those freeze warnings. Now, if we get into that pink, that's where we're going to be having way below average temperatures. Here's where we could be 20 to 30 degrees below average. It's going to be very bitter cold here. We have the Arctic air coming down this week. Once we get past this week, we will be getting more mild, which is what I know a lot of people do want. So we will have some more mild conditions coming in next week. So that is a good thing for many people. But in that pink, way below average temperatures, very extremely cold here, very life-threatening cold happening across there, and much snow we'll be seeing there. We'll be seeing quite a bit of snow this week. And if we were to go ahead and move over to your yellow, this is where we do have slightly above average temperatures. So here's on the warmer side of things, just a little bit above average of what you usually do see. So if you're in some of those mountainous regions of maybe Colorado or Wyoming, we're not saying it's going to be really hot. We're just saying maybe a little bit more than usual. So maybe instead of a high of 20, whatever you want to say, low of 20, it could be maybe a low of 23 or even lower than that in some of those regions. But, that's just what we're looking at. So you could still be really cold in some of these regions in the yellow, especially in those mountainous regions. But you may be, a few degrees more than usual. But nothing, the change won't be as noticeable. And it's the same thing as those light blues and those yellows. That's kind of how it is. Now, if we were to go into that medium, in that orange, here's where we do have those above average temperatures. Here is where it will get a little bit more noticeable, 5 to 10 degrees above average. This is not going to be much relief for the fires in California. And if we were to move into those red regions, we do have way above average temperatures. So here we could be anywhere from 10 to 20 degrees above average when it does come to those temperatures. So you can see that's much of northern California and some of those regions, even parts of western Nevada. Here's where we have those really, I wouldn't say, you don't have to say hot, but, it could be pretty hot here. I would go ahead and say it. But here is where we'll see that continuous fire danger happening. So 10 to 20 degrees above average with those temperature anomalies around those red regions. We could be getting pretty hot here. I will even say hot. I know it's November, so it's a little hard for me to say hot, but it could be getting pretty hot in those red regions, so watch out there. Now, if we were to get into your precipitation anomalies, let's go ahead and start with your yellow. So here is pretty widespread. This is most of the U.S. We do have those slightly below average precipitation. So we do have this big system coming throughout, the early part of the week, throughout maybe, your Monday, your Tuesday. But once we get past those days, we're not going to be seeing much. So I am saying in a lot of these regions, after Tuesday, it's going to be pretty dry. So especially in the eastern United States and the western United States, it's probably going to be, it's going to be dry all week. But in those Ohio Valley regions in the eastern United States where you do have that yellow, and even the orange, we do have those slightly below average precipitation. So you will see your good amount of precipitation earlier on in the week, which could not give you which would be slightly below average, because you'll have a dry week, but you had a lot at the beginning of the week. But here, pretty much after Tuesday, you'll be a little drier in these yellow regions. Once again, in the west, it's a little bit of a different story. You'll be pretty much dry the whole week. But if you're in the central or eastern United States in that yellow, that is the story there. Now, if we were to move into your orange, this is where we do have below average precipitation. So this is going to be a lot of the west coast, parts of Idaho. Also, as we do move into parts of Utah, you can see northern Utah, you can see right there, and also parts of southwestern Wyoming, even into parts of Colorado, you can see it. And then a big chunk of the Ohio Valley in the Midwest, also in that orange region. So here, it's going to be pretty dry. Once again, after your Tuesday, it could be getting pretty dry here. It'll be really cold, and it will be really cold across a lot of the central and eastern United States. So the story here is we won't be able to get a lot of that moisture in because of all that cold air in place. So it should be pretty dry in a lot of these orange regions, especially across the west. Now, across the central United States where we do have that orange, once again, probably your Monday. For these regions, the story will be around your Monday. Maybe some of these regions your Tuesday, but especially your Monday, you're going to get these snowy and rainy conditions for some. But after that, it's going to be pretty dry for the rest of the week. And as we do move into that red, we do have the way below average precipitation. That's going to be coastal Oregon, very northwestern California, and also the southwestern regions of Washington. This is where it could be getting really dry, so that is not a good story. Adding to the fire danger for parts of northern California, that is not a good thing to hear, but way below average precipitation for many people in those red regions. Now, if we were to move into your lightest green, that's where we do have slightly above average precipitation. So here we just do have that slightly above average, just a little bit more than usual. If your average is 1 inch, it could be 1.3 inches. So that's kind of your thing when it does come to that. And a lot of these regions, it'll be mainly rain, but up here it won't. It'll be snow. Up here it'll be just snow. But in these southern regions, it'll be rain. And you can see up here in parts of Montana, that's the story where it'll be mainly above average snow. So we have a lot of snow showers that will be going throughout this week across a lot of those regions. It's even if you're in those white areas, maybe North Dakota, South Dakota, parts of northwestern Nebraska, you can see eastern Wyoming. This is where we could be actually be seeing a lot of our snow showers up here. But in those lightest greens, slightly above average precipitation. Also into those medium greens, this is where we do have that above average precipitation. That's for parts of the southeast, parts of southern Texas, and you can see even moving up into parts of north central Montana, where once again we'll have a lot of that snow moving through. But the rest in the southeast and parts of Texas, that's where we'll just be seeing rain. But southern Texas, parts of the western coast of Florida, and then north around your Savannah region of Georgia, moving into all of coastal regions of South Carolina, and even coastal regions of North Carolina, moving a little bit inland with those regions across North Carolina, just a little bit inland. Now, if we were to go ahead and go over to your snowstorm that will be happening this week, really early this week, and you can see here we are right now. It's a little warmer for some of these regions ahead of the storm, but you can see how it does start out for rain for some people, but it will quickly turn over to snow. And you can see as early as tonight, for some regions in the Northeast, we could even be seeing some snow showers moving in. Some rain mixed in parts of New York and parts of northern Pennsylvania. But you can see we actually do have that in place. And if we were to keep going throughout into later tonight, into tomorrow morning, this will be tomorrow morning, you can see right here, we do have a lot of that snow in northern Indiana, parts of Ohio, moving into Michigan. You can see a lot of that snow. And also right here you can see across New York and also parts of New Hampshire and Vermont. We do have that snow in place. New York City, you're dry. Boston, you're dry. Philadelphia, you're dry. Washington, D.C., you're dry for now. And you can see as we go throughout the day tomorrow, getting into your afternoon, You can see right here, we do have some pretty heavy snows for people in Indiana, Ohio, even as we do move up into the northeast across parts of New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, parts of Maine. It's getting a little bit more widespread than earlier in the morning. This is when it'll change over to snow showers to mainly just snow, continuous snow. And you can see the rain ahead of this. We do have a little bit of rain ahead of this, but for all these regions, it will be changing over to rain west of the Appalachian Mountains mainly. But if we were to keep looking, you can see we have this mix line right here that we'll set up somewhere. We'll have to watch that mix line where we could get some icy roads, mainly your rain and snow mix, but we could get, especially in some of these regions, some freezing rain, some sleet in some regions, so watch out for that. But you can see right here, we do get a mix setting in for a lot of these regions in New York. There are a lot of Vermont, New Hampshire, and coastal Maine where we do get this warmer air to seep in, but we will still see that we'll be cold enough to see that wintry precipitation for those people. But watch out there where we could have a mix of some very slick roads. Icy roads could definitely be very possible there. You can see for the Ohio Valley, we have some snow, and moving all the way down into Tennessee and Kentucky, we even do have snow there. Some measurable snow could be falling as far as Tennessee, which is crazy in November. Not uncalled, it's not like we've never seen it, but we don't see it much. Now you can see we do have the snow behind, a lot of that lake effect snow, and we'll just have some moisture behind this. This will be very cold for many people. Record highs. Now this wouldn't be record like hot highs, but record cold highs. So we could be in the teens, and for some people's highs, but that'd be definitely up in the upper Midwest. But our lows could be getting down into the single digits for many across the Ohio Valley, moving into the Northeast, which is very cold to see. And a lot of that could be moving south, not single digits, but getting near freezing for some parts of the Gulf states. Now, if we were to keep looking at this, you can see we do have that mix still around for parts of New Hampshire, Vermont, parts of New York, and even coastal Maine. So getting pretty slick there. But you can see there's snow across many of these regions, extending all the way down into Tennessee. And if we were to keep looking, keep going, you can see how once it hits those Appalachian Mountains, that cold air, we'll still have the cold air in place, but, we'll have this little bit of a lull in here to where we don't see much falling, and we're not expecting too much wintry precipitation. If we get in there, we'll have the cold in place, but most of the snow will stay right along west of the Appalachian Mountains, and it won't be able to get across. And you can see how once we get a little bit past, you can see we get some snow to start falling again, as we get a little bit more east after we can recreate that moisture. But you can see how we do have this mix for some regions there, getting close to Boston. But you can see mainly rain still for many of, into your Monday night. We still do have it there. But you can see much snow for the Northeast, pretty widespread for a while, for like almost a whole day we've been seeing snow. You can see still falling in parts of eastern Tennessee, but you can see it gets pretty strong. We do have quite a bit of a strong mix across parts of Maine. We still have that happening, which is a pretty widespread mix of very slick roads for many. But you can see right here, we do have the snow right here for many people as we get throughout your Tuesday morning. And you can see some snow still along those Appalachian Mountains. Behind this, it's all going to be snow. Any precipitation you do see behind this will be it will just be snow. It'll be in the form of snow because it'll just be cold enough and we won't be able to see rain. But you can see how it just moved away by your Tuesday night, and it should be out of here definitely by your Tuesday night. We will have some snow showers around after that, but you can see not too widespread, just snow showers around. And that lake effect snow really will be coming in. Now, if we were to go ahead and look at your snow totals, I did want to take a look at this, and you can see how the Weather Channel has us we have some pretty big totals, even far south. But you can see right here is where I was talking about how right east of those Appalachian Mountains, we don't have that precipitation falling, so we'll have to watch out for that. Even as we do move south, we're going to have to watch out for that, but we'll see. And you can see, if we get into that lightest blue, that's where we do have that snow up to 1 inch. And as we move into that medium blue, that's 1 to 3 inches of snow. Now, you can see that gets pretty south, even down into parts of Tennessee. Nashville, you could be picking up maybe 1 to 2 inches, maybe just up to 1 inch, but some regions could be seeing 1 to 2 inches. And you can see as we do move into that darkest blue, that's where we do have those 3 to 5 inches of snow for many. You can see that's Chicago, but we do have it pretty widespread for many. But you can see right here, much of the Ohio Valley is going to be in those 1 to 3 inch totals. Into that lightest purple, we do have 5 to 8 inches of snow. That's pretty widespread for many people in New York, and where we do have a lot of that lake effect snow in place, especially for western Michigan. Northern Michigan, we do have those too, but we do have some our highest totals across northern Michigan possible. And you can see 5 to 8 inches once again in those lightest purples. Into those medium purples, we have 8 to 12 inches of snow. So this is where it gets pretty significant. And you can see that's mainly going to be right up here in the interior northeast, and in some of these regions where we do have the highest lake effect snow, especially northern Michigan. For many people, just where you see those highest lake effect snows falling down. And you can see in this darkest purples, we do have the 12 to 18 inches of snow falling. And that's mainly going to be up here. You can see in parts of upstate New York, northern Vermont, even parts of northern Maine in those highest elevations. And I would not be surprised if we could pick up some 12 to 18 inches in parts of the lake effect snows anywhere around here. So I would not be surprised where those black dots are, that we could see maybe an isolated 12 to 18 inches. Now you can see in those greens everywhere else we have a maybe 1 inch, less than an inch of rain, maybe getting up to 1 inch, but less than an inch of rain in many of these regions. In those greens, probably won't see any snow. Maybe we could get a few flurries in for some in some of those green regions. On the backside in New York and Boston, right here, we could get some snow showers on the backside, a brief changeover, but we will have to see. You could pick up a quick dusting to an inch. We'll have to see about that. But yeah, guys, I hope y'all did enjoy today's video. That is your weekly forecast. Now, we did start with the whole week forecast, and then we changed over to just a snowstorm forecast. So this was a little bit of a longer video, but I do hope you enjoyed, and I will see you guys in the next video. Have a great day.